CMH. Jared, go ahead.
Hi, Ryan. A question for you about Marvin. It's two questions. As you've gone through the back half of the season here, how much have you noticed teams shifting their coverage to maybe give him a little extra attention? And the other part of that is for you as a play caller, when you recognize that and moving forward, how does it change your process as you go to attack a defense, understanding what they're trying to do to eliminate Marvin as a threat?
That's something that is important to consider because, in the past, we've had guys like Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, guys who teams will game plan against. And so one of the things that we've really worked hard on is our balance so that it's hard for you to take away one of our players. You got Julian Fleming, you got Emeka Buka, you have Xavier Johnson, you have Cade Stover, you have our running backs coming out of the backfield, you have the run game, you have the pass game. So, if that's something that a team wants to do, then we just have to be aware of that and look to attack them in other areas. But that's the goal of having a balanced offense, is that you can't, really focus on just taking away one guy or one certain play.
All righty, let's go next to Austin Ward from Rivals.
Ryan, I think you said that maybe it wasn't until late last week that you all started giving Xavier more of the running back, playbook or game plan. Has his week been structured differently? And if he needs to play more in the backfield this week, what about his skill set suits that?
Well, he's done it before. He really, I think he spent a whole year at running back, if not that, at least a spring at running back. So he's done it before. He's taken more reps at running back this week, but still done a bunch at receiver. And I think his skill set is just that. He can do a lot of those things. He spent a whole spring in protection, so he knows how to do that. He's done a great job in understanding the tracks, and he's provided unbelievable depth for us, and he's been a weapon.
All righty, next we'll go to Dan Hope from 11 Warriors.
Ryan, Steele was saying yesterday that you guys practiced in the snow and you guys didn't do that much a year ago. Is there a conscious decision to go out and practice in the elements more this year, or, a conscious decision not to do that as much before this year?
I just don't think we got any snow last year, but we certainly did yesterday. It was coming down sideways. It's been an interesting year so far in November, just getting a bunch of different weather, and that's okay. That's part of November. That's why we've been working hard at preparing for this, and didn't know it'd be like the way it was. Once we were out there, there's a couple points it was hard to see in the film, but it was good. The guys had great energy at practice and really didn't skip a beat. It was kind of snowing pretty hard at one point during the game on Saturday. So our guys, seem to be becoming immune to it.
All righty, we'll go next to Clay Hall from WSYX.
Hey, Coach, heard you talking about the DMV there on the radio show. Is that area as Buckeye friendly or fertile as any area outside of Ohio that you recruit? North, south, east, west?
I think you've seen us do well there, and there's a lot of good talent in that area, a lot of good high school football programs. And, you guys all know some of the guys who have come from that area. And continue to. So we continue to recruit there. I think there's very, very high-end talent there. And so a lot of guys, really, it's an easy trip to Ohio State. They see Ohio State as a great place to go, not too far away, but close enough that their family can come to games and be a part of their college experience. So Larry Johnson really has recruited that area for us since, for the last 4 years. And, I don't know how it would compare numbers wise to some of the other places we recruit, but we consider it a very high priority.
Thanks.
All right, Tim May, Letterman Row, you're up.
Thank you, Michael. Brandon, you have to see something in a running back's eyes as much as his performance to know you can lean on him. And of course, I'm talking about Dallin Hayden, a freshman. We'll see how much he gets to play on Saturday, but obviously this past week was important. What do you just have to see from a guy to trust him with the ball?
Well, like you said, the number one thing for anybody who's touching the football is ball security. there's nothing more important than that. When you have the ball in your hands, you have the whole team in your hands, and that's a huge responsibility. So we talk about that all the time. We do drills. We hammer it as much as we can. So that's the first thing. Everybody has to trust that when we put the ball into a running back's hands, that he's going to come back with the ball at the end of the play. That's the first thing. The second thing is to know what he's doing in protection, running the football. And that's the only way to do that is through practice every day. And what are we seeing in practice? Are they making missed assignments, or are they actually, doing what they're supposed to? And then the more you do that, and then it's just God-given ability. Here's the read, but at the end of the day, you got to go play and be physical and have that edge to you. So part of it, like you said, is, someone's looking their eye, but they have an opportunity to prove it to us every day in practice. We don't tackle running backs. So there's a little bit of a projection there, but that's why we wanted to get them in the game early in the season to get a feel for what we have.
Thank you.
Yep.
Friday, we'll go next to Bill Landis from Rivals.
Ryan, when Josh Fryer plays as well as he did, kind of how do you progress from there? Even if you do get healthier up front, does Josh now bring a little competition there to see who starts? Do you look to work him in rotationally now that he's shown that he can perform well, just like outside of that Bison package where you've already played him?
Well, I think now that he can play in a game and do well, with some of the new challenges we have ahead of us, he's going to have to be able to do that as well. He comes in certainly in that Bison package that we have and does a really good job there. So we'll continue that package and try to find more things for him to do there. But if there's any hiccup with anybody on that offensive line, he would be obviously one of the first ones to go in.
All righty, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, I know you didn't have an update on Jaxon on Tuesday, but I think you said a couple of weeks ago that you were still hoping and expecting to get him back at some point this year. Is that still the thought with him at some point you'd be able to get him back?
I wouldn't say expecting. I'd probably say more hoping, but no update at this point.
All righty, we'll go next to Stephen Means from Cleveland.com.
Ryan, you mentioned on the radio show that you had a scrimmage and you let CJ call the offensive plays and Tommy called the defensive plays. What went into that decision? How often have you maybe done that with players in the past, and how they do as coordinators?
Not bad. It was fun to watch. We've been doing that here now, probably for the last couple of months, where we start off Wednesday practice with a little, put the ball on a 10-yard line and let our threes play scrimmage against our threes for 4 plays. I think the defense is winning 4-1. And this week, just to get some juice going before practice, it was snowing and it was cold. Wanted to get something going, so we decided we'll put the defense on one sideline, offense on the other, and let the players call it. And so it was fun. But the defense did win.
What do those two get out of that, just from a development standpoint, other than just a chance to compete?
I think it was just for fun. It was just 4 plays, and I think they're just having some fun, with practice, and just look at it from a different perspective.
All righty, we'll go next to Tony Girdman, Buckeye Huddle.
Ryan, obviously guys are going to make their NFL decisions later on, but do you know who is going to be using their COVID year, coming back for a 5th and 6th year yet?
We haven't had final decisions on that. We talked to the guys that, we'll get through the season, and then we'll start to have more conversations about, what comes for next year.
How do you balance that with signing day?
Well, we just, we'll kind of see how things shake out as we get, closer to signing day. The projection right now, Mark Pantoni works all the time, just on the numbers on a daily basis, and, tries to project it the best you can, but knowing that there's going to be flexibility in there. And you guys saw last year, even in through the spring, there was a lot of flexibility. I think at one point, maybe we were at 80, 8 or something, 89. I forget exactly what it was. And then some guys left. So it's a floating and target at this point. And so we'll do what's best and try to figure that out once the season gets done. But Mark, kind of tries to project it every day. And we have a board that we go through every Thursday. Yep.
All righty, we'll do 2 more. First one to Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
I think you're on
Still
mute
on
there.
mute there, Nathan.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, gotcha.
Sorry about that.
No.
Steele yesterday was talking about the difference between the defense this year, last year, and he used the term cloudy to describe last year's experience with the calls coming from the sideline, or I guess just what the defense knew was expected from it on play by play. How different does it feel this year? And just with that trust now that feels like there is a link between the calls that are coming in and the players executing them.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of guys getting experience and, Steele be a great example. That was his first year playing. He had just played running back up, moved over to linebacker. So, I think he'd probably tell you things are moving pretty fast for him. Now you get into that second year, things just naturally slow down at every position. Not only the second year, but even maybe the second half of the season. I'm sure it did for him. But when you couple that with, I think the teaching that went on in the offseason and the way that our defensive coaches are coaching and communicating and allowing them to play fast, I think that's why you're seeing him play with a clear mind and playing fast.
And then finally, we'll wrap it up with Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Ryan. You've talked quite a bit about Cade Stover this year, but it seems to me he's in some ways kind of an embodiment of the program. First was from Ohio, but just the changing of positions and just kind of gutting through tough times. What would you want to say about Cade and his season this year and what he's meant to the team?
Whatever I say won't be enough. Cade is a leader. He's tough. He's persevered. He's wise beyond his years. When you're talking to him, you're talking to a man. He was that way coming out of high school, really, though. He just, is really strong. But at the same time, he was still 18, 19, 20 years old. I think he's maybe now 21. But up until this year, hadn't really enjoyed the success that I think a lot of us believed that he would. And at one point, he and I had that conversation about moving over to tight end. And I shared him my thoughts, what I thought I saw in him. And, I think you have to ask him. I think he said, okay, I believe in you. And we kind of took this leap of faith together. And there was some doubt last year, especially at the end of the season. He felt frustrated, I think, being from Ohio and the way the season ended. And then in the offseason was kind of back and forth, not sure about playing linebacker and tight end. But again, took that leap of faith. And now you're seeing all that hard work pay off. And I can't say enough about his toughness, his leadership, who he is as a person. And he's had such an impact on a lot of guys, setting an example and then holding guys accountable.
Thanks, Ryan.
You got it.
All righty, Coach. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you Saturday.
All right, guys. Thanks.